And we'll give you the tail of the tape for Wilfredo Vazquez Jr. against Marvin Sonsona. Vazquez Jr.'s father, Wilfredo Vazquez, was an outstanding professional fighter, won 3 world titles during his career. Vazquez Jr. has also had some great success, but in recent years has fallen on harder times. He's lost 3 of his last 6 fights. But before that stretch, he got a knockout victory over Sonsona at a moment when Sonsona was a rising prospect out of the Philippines, once called by the Manila newspaper the next Manny Pacquiao. Some of that has to do with, of course, that he's a southpaw puncher. But in the fight against Vazquez, he allowed himself to stand against the ropes, stood up 2 stalls straight up against the ropes, and eventually Wilfredo Jr. wrecked him with body shots. Straight right hand there, second left hook to the body. Sonsona went down, and it was a knockout victory for Vazquez. This was at a point in his career when Sonsona was being criticized in the Philippines for being too much of a party animal, having too good a time with himself. He says that's all over with now. He's completely reformed, has a whole different point of view, and is ready to undertake serious pursuit of the highest identity possible in his professional career. And there's Sonsona, who's already in the ring. Sonsona is 23 years old, and here comes Wilfredo Vazquez Jr., who at age 29 is trying to rebuild his career after having made radical changes. For a long period of time, he was trained by his father. Earlier this year, he suddenly dumped out on his father, and for a period of time was training himself before bringing in Ricky Morones, a trainer from Puerto Rico, to help him with preparations for this return bout. It was a very emotional Wilfredo Vazquez Jr. who told us yesterday that everything in his life is invested in this fight tonight. He has to win to begin rebuilding his dream. Sonsona, who was a 4th-round knockout victim a couple of years ago, now becomes, unusually enough, the favorite in the fight against Vazquez Jr., his previous conqueror. And incidentally, earlier today, Wilfredo Vazquez Jr., in clarifying his situation for us, contradicted the official press information that was put out by the promoter and said, Ricky Morones is not my trainer. I'm the only trainer I have. So he's gone back to the identity of saying that he's training himself. The only thing we know for certain about this is that he's had a falling out with his father, and he's trying to rebuild his career on different terms. He's also been working for the last couple of years as an expert commentator on Spanish language broadcasts of boxing. And my understanding is he's doing a pretty good job with that. He's got a really bright personality. Maybe that's where the ultimate path will lead. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started with this next contest, just recently, a very distinguished member of the boxing fraternity passed away. He was one of the great legends of Philadelphia fighters, former light heavyweight world champion, Matthew Saad Muhammad. Let's, at this time, send him a farewell with a memorial count of 10, which is the tradition in boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain silent for this final count of 10 for the Hall of Fame Philadelphia boxing legend, Matthew Saad Muhammad. Rest in peace, champion. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden, New York, USA, the action continues, and it's all brought to you by Top Rank Incorporated, Miguel Cotto Promotions, DeBella Entertainment, and Samson Boxing. Sponsored by Tecate con Caracta and PlayStation. PlayStation 4, greatness awaits. This contest sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission. At ringside, the three judges scoring: Julie Letterman, Michael Pernick, and John Potteray. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Steve Willis. And now on the line, the vacant NABF Featherweight Championship, 10 rounds of boxing. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing gold with white, official weight 125 3/4 pounds. His professional career, 18 victories, including 15 knockouts, only one defeat with one draw. From General Santos City, Philippines, marvelous MARVIN Sonsona. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red with yellow, officially weighing in at 125 3/4 pounds also. As a professional, 23 victories, including 19 knockouts, with 3 defeats, 1 draw. From Bayamon, Puerto Rico, the former WBO Super Bantamweight World Champion, Wilfredo Papito Vazquez Jr.
Yes, sir. Ain't in. Another gig. Good evening, gentlemen. You both received the instruction in the dressing room. Go to the beta commands, protect yourselves at all times. Right now, the belt line, everything here is low. Everything here is low. All right, tap it up. Let's go up. Tap it up.
As you mentioned, Jim, Vazquez leading up to this fight was highly emotional, highly charged. This a very important moment to him in his career. And Sonsona, Samson Lufkowitz, one of the great international scouts of talent in boxing, said he saw him throw an uppercut that told him this is a special talent, the next Manny Pacquiao.
That uppercut produced a stunning knockout of a Japanese fighter named Shimoda in Macau earlier this year, on February 22 of this year. And that brilliant one-punch uppercut shot knockout is a candidate at this moment for knockout of the year. And now Sonsona, coming off of that win, goes back to work against Vazquez Jr.
And Vazquez Jr. has to be careful not to do the same thing that John Jackson did earlier and go in looking for the punches, looking for the offense, and forget about the defense. Because Sonsona can definitely punch.
And has nimble feet, got himself off the ropes and into good position a moment ago.
When they fought 4 years ago in February of 2010, Wilfredo Vazquez, more experienced, was able to beat Sonsona to the punch, control the action, and ultimately wrecked him with body shots. And right now, it is Vazquez Jr. who goes down on a body shot.
Yes, Sonsona has wrecked him with body shots this time.
How ironic was that? So Sonsona remembered what Vazquez did to him with body shots and starts it out that way in round number 1.
Watch your heads. Punches up.
Make sure the trigger's light. Ringside is going to bring it back. So they're going to throw the national back in the ambulance.
You really had to wonder about Vazquez Jr.'s emotional constitution coming into the fight. He was all but a basket case in the fighter meeting yesterday. And it helps to create the unusual situation where a guy, Sonsona, who was wrecked, knocked out in 4 rounds the first time around, is the logical favorite in this fight. I was trying to remember the last time somebody who got KO'd in 4 by a preceding opponent or something like that was the favorite the second time around, and the best I could come up with was the obvious, Lennox Lewis against Hasim Rahman the second time they fought. That was a long time ago.
Good body shot by Vazquez.
Vazquez seems to be thinking well at this moment about how to come back from what happened early in the round.
Yeah, he looks like he's doing a good job of recovering. He just has to be careful not to run into a big shot from Sonsona because Sonsona can really punch.
It's a really good and underused weapon, I feel, the straight right hand to the body that Vazquez landed. Veteran move.
He can't swap it for a right hook by Sonsona, though.
Time. Walk away.
Is marked by a body shot knockdown of Vazquez by Sonsona. For the bucket.
One thing, your head a little bit higher, okay? Keep your head high. And turn here because he's capturing you this one here all the time. So you move to this side.
Look at me. Listen to me. You okay? Just be careful. When he comes in. Breathe, breathe, air.
Here you see Sonsona on the attack with a beautiful left to the body, right on the belt line, actually right on the liver because that belt is a little high. What a great body shot by Sonsona.
Box numbers in round one. Sonsona 15 of 56. Vazquez 10 out of 28. So Sonsona doubled Vazquez in the number of punches thrown. Obviously, it took Vazquez a period of time in the first round to fully recover from the body shot knockdowns.
Those are the hardest ones to recover from.
Particularly the liver shot.
Yes.
I mean, you don't always see a guy get up. Frankly, more frequently, you see them stay down.
Wait, watch your hands.
That was a good right hook to the body by Sonsona, too.
But this is an ultimate crossroads for Vazquez, who is trying to maintain the chance to feed his family and support himself economically from boxing. He got into professional boxing without any previous amateur career, despite the fact that his father was a decorated professional boxer, when he lost a job at a casino in San Juan and was embarrassed to tell his wife that he had lost the job and needed a way to make money, and decided to begin fighting professionally as his father has done. His father was derisive about it at first. Said, what are you talking about? How can you fight professionally? You've never even had an amateur fight. And Wilfredo said, look, you can be with me or against me. I'm going to do it. So his father trained him and brought him along to a very successful professional start until in the last year and a half, he began to run into rocky circumstances, most particularly losing a world title belt in a 12th round knockout loss to Jorge Arce, in a fight in which he almost knocked Arce out in the 4th round but couldn't quite finish him and ultimately wound up paying the price.
And that probably came from experience and the fact that he's going through so many things emotionally, because this guy gave Nonito Donaire a hell of a fight at a time when Nonito Donaire was on top of the world in this division.
Indeed, he was one of Donaire's 4 opponents in 2012, the year in which Donaire was voted Fighter of the Year. He actually had the advantage over Donaire on one of the 3 scorecards in Texas, though personally I thought that scorecard was off base. Donaire, to me, was the clear winner of the fight.
And like me and you both thought at the beginning or at the fighter meeting, as we saw at the round 1, the voice in the corner would somehow become that of Russ Amber.
Russ Amber, a cut man from Canada who is a true ring veteran, knows everything about the sport, and he's the guy that we've determined is probably going to wind up talking to Vazquez through the fight.
Hands are free. Work out. Fight your way out.
Sonsona doesn't want anything to do with Vazquez's body shots on the inside, ties him up tight.
And that's why Vazquez has to keep that body attack on and has to be careful of the body attack from Sonsona.
Good right hook by Sonsona.
Hands are free.
And though Vazquez's trunks are up high, I wonder how many times Sonsona's going to be able to hit him on the belt line without a warning. If the ref calls it that way the whole fight, that's consistent, but it has the appearance at times of a low blow.
This is another young New York referee, Steve Willis, who is controlling this fight. July 26th, and we showed you the news conference earlier. It's the return of Triple G. Gennadievich Golovkin, the middleweight knockout artist, facing Australian Daniel Keogh right here in Madison Square Garden. Also, heavyweight contenders, Bryant Jennings, unbeaten in the United States, and Irish Mike Perez, Cuban defector living in Ireland, are on that card.
What was the gameplay? What was the plan? Just go on, risk it. Just a good job.
He see Sonsona land this beautiful left body shot. It looks like it's on the cup line, but that line is actually above the navel, so that makes it a legal punch. And a good body shot.
Round 3.
All right, here we go.
Sonsona knocked Vazquez down in the first round. Has the early advantage in the fight.
You know what it is about the way Sonsona hits him on the belt line is usually you don't see it dug underneath coming up the belt line like that. So it's catching Vazquez in what looks like a very vulnerable area.
Hurry, step back. I got it.
Hooking it underneath, uppercutting it underneath the belt line.
Good left hand by Sonsona.
Oh, good quick left hand inside by WILFREDO Vazquez.
Come on, hands are free. Come on, work it out. Hurry, step back. Come on, we're gonna stop that hold. Both feet. Both feet.
Sonsona has a tendency to get a little bit reckless when he's on the offensive, and Vazquez is smart enough to take advantage of that from time to time.
You have to take your head off to a guy like Vazquez, a guy who just decides one day, okay, I'm gonna start boxing, and just picks it up and comes in and fights these world-class fighters the way that he does. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. By the way, Chavez Jr. too.
That's what I'm saying.
They come from fathers who it's second nature to them because they grew up with it, but to have no amateur background and do this?
Unbelievable.
Nate Campbell is another one with a late start.
Exactly right.
And had such an old school
approach.
Yeah, his style looked like a veteran of 100 amateur fights and 100 professional fights.
And those three guys have to be my top 3 to have accomplished so much without really having a true amateur background.
Sergio Martinez
didn't have much of an amateur background.
That's right. I forgot about him.
Sergio Martinez.
Indeed, you know, earlier Max was talking about Samson Lukowicz, the global explorer and talent scout who has brought so many talented fighters to the United States. And if you're looking for the names that underline that particular skill on Lukowicz's part, well, he found a guy named Manny Pacquiao and brought him to the United States. And in 2008, he brought Sergio Martinez from Spain to the United States. And now he's got Sonsona. So you might say, oh, I get it. Samson just likes southpaws.
You know who else goes on that list? James Toney.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
The most skillful.
Yep.
Well, James Toney was schooled by, once he became a professional, he was schooled by Bill Miller, who was a professor of the old style and taught him every trick imaginable. And then later Freddie Roach. Later Freddie Roach was with Toney for quite a long period of time.
Great. All right. All right, okay.
Earlier you heard Max Kellerman's conversation in the locker room with Miguel Cotto. Let's see what he had to say with Sergio Martinez.
All those years, all those tough fights, title defenses. Now you're fighting before a sold-out crowd. Miguel Cotto, Madison Square Garden. Now that the moment's here, how do you feel?
Siento mucha alegría, mucha motivación, porque creo que es el mejor regalo que me puede dar el boxeo.
Lots of happiness and lots of motivation because I think it's the best present that boxing can give me.
You're the type of fighter who seems to feed off of the emotion and the crowd in the ring. What kind of fight should we expect tonight?
Una pelea de lo más emotiva y emocionante que pueda dar. Estoy dispuesto a darlo todo para llevarme el título otra vez a mi casa.
A very emotional fight, and I'm going to give it all so that I can take the title back home with me.
After a long string of fighting these big, strong middleweights usually have the size advantage over you. How does it change? How does your strategy change fighting a smaller junior middleweight moving up?
La estrategia es similar, los movimientos y la técnica es la misma. Lo único tengo que saber manejar la distancia, nada más. Es lo mismo que pelear contra un boxeador grande.
The strategy is simple. We just have to adjust the technique and adjust the technique for the fight of a smaller man. But it's very similar. The only thing we have to do is adjust for a small man.
You've been talking about a knockout leading up to this fight. Is that still what's on your mind?
Sí, sigo pensando en eso porque para eso trabajé 21 semanas.
Yes, absolutely. I'm absolutely thinking that. That's why I worked 21 weeks for that.
Good luck, champ.
And we return to the action in the ring in round 4 of a scheduled 10 between Wilfredo Vazquez Jr. and Marvin Sonsona. And you saw Harold Letterman's scorecard at the bottom of the screen.
No.
All in all, I think you got to give Vazquez credit for coming back from the early body shot knockdown in round 1.
That too. Just another testament of how tough this kid really is.
Yeah, it's the tortoise and the hare in a way. Sonsona, the more talented guy, and he could still turn a fight around in a moment. But Vazquez didn't get discouraged, kept plugging away, and the fight has seemed to change.
And he just duplicated the combination that ultimately did Sonsona in 4 years ago when he threw the straight right hand up the middle, catching Sonsona on the chin and immediately followed with the left hook to the liver.
And Jim, didn't he say he worked with Nacho Bernstein a little bit this fight?
Yes, he did.
Not so easy to be the
because
next
he went
Manny
to Mexico
Pacquiao,
City and spent a good deal of time in the Loranza gym, where not only did he work some with Nacho Bernstein, but he also was conditioned and had his nutritional picture set up by Angel Heredia Sr. and Jr., who are well known for their work with Marquez in the last couple of years. Conditioning, nutrition, supplements, etc.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the man he got that's giving him the advice in the corner right now, and Russ, because Russ knows everything that there is to know about completing and doing a good job in a professional fight.
You've been in training camps with Russ Amber.
One of the most intelligent guys I ever came across, and he's a half-decent pool player.
Meaning that he can't beat you?
Well, he come close sometimes. He beat me last night, so we go back and forth.
All right, got to give him credit for that. You mean you found a billiards table in New York City?
Russ finds a billiard table anywhere we go. We can be in Quebec. He gonna find anywhere in the world. He gonna find a pool table.
Don't punch. Let him go. Come on. Oh. You're not gonna wrestle me. All right, go wrestle me. Go that way.
Miguel Cotto warming up in his dressing room. Freddie Roach, the current trainer with whom Miguel has seemingly developed an outstanding relationship, carefully looking on. They like each other in that camp. There's a kind of a love fest going on among Roach, Cotto, Gavin McMillan, the conditioner.
Got to work the two hands. You got to work the two hands, not just one. Two hands. He's tired. You know that. He's tired. All the time. You know, try to cut off. You all right? You pressure.
That was Russ Amber.
Let him hit you. Don't let him hit you.
Sonsona's trainer is Feliciano Agrabio Jr. from the Philippines. Combi box numbers through 4. Dead even. Sonsona landing 42 out of 162. Vazquez 43 out of 128. So Vazquez is landing at the higher connect percentage and has caught up to Sonsona in connected punches through 4 rounds. And on Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard now, the only difference between the two fighters is the knockdown in round 1.
And don't judge Russ by those punches that you see him trying to throw, telling Vazquez what to do, because he doesn't have the best form. But I don't like how Sonsona is really looking right now. He's not looking like a guy who wants to be in control, or a guy who we're expecting to be the next Manny Pacquiao of the Philippines.
That's not so easy. It's easier said than done, the next Manny Pacquiao. But the last couple rounds, I think, Vazquez has imposed himself, and Sonsona has shied away from that fight.
And when I said that, I meant that, like, Samson brings us these guys that are usually winners, and they're winners 95% of the times that you see them in the ring. But Sonsona is not really looking like a winner right now.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Roy. And what's really begun to happen here is that the fight has begun to take on the aspect of their fight 4 years ago, when Sonsona was similarly wild, effective early, undisciplined, gave Vazquez chances to get back into it, and Vazquez took advantage of those chances and ultimately knocked him out.
Being very talented is one thing, and Sonsona has a lot of talent. The consistent and intense application of that talent is something else. And he obviously does not have that at this point in his career.
And that's what I was saying.
Now you talk about efficiency. Making your punches count is very important. And ever since round one, WILFREDO Vazquez has done a much better job of making his punches count than has Marvin Sonsona.
I'm going to tell you again. This is the last time I tell you. Go home. All right? Time it.
I really think, and you talk about this often, Jim, it's about identity. That Sonsona has not shown the will or the discipline to maintain his identity as a fighter consistently throughout a fight. That he shies away from the guy he was early in this fight as Vazquez starts to impose himself on Sonsona.
You got to be careful doing it, though, because just like that, Sonsona is capable of landing a one punch, fight-ending punch at any time.
Yeah, you can see the physical talent that Sonsona brings to this. And you can see that he has power and speed. But you can also see Vazquez's intelligence and his ability to play off the mistakes that Sonsona makes.
Come on now. Let's go.
Sonsona's had a problem keeping his foot on the pedal when the going gets rough.
Well, the one-time party animal of Manila says that's all behind him. But it takes a while sometimes to make everything come into place. June 14th, all-action Ruslan Pravadnikov, the Siberian Rocky, makes the first defense of his 140-pound title belt against undefeated Chris Algieri. Also that night, Demetrius Andrade takes on Brian Rose. Who's Brian Rose? He's an Englishman who last October defeated Javier Maciel, the guy you saw earlier tonight taking Jorge Melendez.
You don't have to force it. That's just a jab. Relax. He won't attack you with a jab. You said it's a defense. Yeah. He's feeling awkward right now. Okay. Stick to the game plan.
That crowd roar is for a picture of Mike Tyson on the big screen. America's #1 boxing fan here again tonight. Mike doesn't miss any big fights. Harold Letterman gave the 5th round to Sonsona, building for the Filipino fighter a 2-point lead on the unofficial Letterman scorecard.
Hold it there. Let him go. Let him go. Both of you.
But it's a pretty good fight, and both guys are in it as we come to the 6th of a scheduled 10.
The knockdown that Sonsona scored in the first round, it was a legal punch as ruled by the referee, and it probably was really a legal punch.
No,
but it was in an area that Vazquez didn't think he had to defend. And it was sort of a wake-up call for him, I think.
Yeah, it was, because he's been doing a good job of defending his body since that time.
Extending that defense a little bit lower below the belt line.
Oh, good uppercut Sonsona just threw.
Good left hook by WILFREDO Vazquez Jr.
Sit back. Let him go. Let him go, Marvin.
Good body shot by Sonsona. That hurt Vazquez.
Sonsona's talent is starting to rise again. He pins Vazquez into the corner.
He landed some good body shots, and Vazquez landed some good head shots.
Now we'll see at this point in Vazquez's career how much this fight means to him, because he was countering when he was getting nailed, and he was countering hard, and Sonsona didn't seem discouraged.
Not at all. And Sonsona just landed a good uppercut on him, too.
Go hold him, Marvin. Let him go, Marvin. Break.
And Vazquez is obviously not discouraged either. When they break, he steps quickly to Sonsona.
Come on, work out.
Well,
Work
that's
out.
that mental intimidation.
There's a free.
Trying to wear him down mentally so that you can land another body shot that may stop the fight again.
No. Time out. Over there. Time. You didn't need to do that. Give me one.
Point deduction from Sonsona.
One. You don't need to do that. Okay? You okay? Box.
So that takes back the knockdown point that Sonsona got in the first round.
The no-nonsense referee. I thought maybe that was a little bit quick to take the point, but they know who's in charge in there.
I thought it was a good point deduction.
Because he was obviously had his back turned.
It's an obvious foul. We're not here to obviously foul. We're fight straight up. An obvious foul wants a point deduction.
Maybe a little sign of Sonsona thinking he needs some
might argue
kind of
later.
advantage.
Hey, yeah, Sonsona might argue later. Hey, he was holding me too.
And he was
but
facing
he's
me
the
at
one
the
whom
moment.
Willis has warned twice before. The build-up to the Miguel Cotto-Sergio Martinez fight has been marked by a series of arguments about issues related to the conduct of the fight. Who gets to walk first? Whose name will be announced first? Whose name appears first in the promotion of the fight? And then most recently, can Sergio Martinez wear protective elastic sleeves over his knees? Freddie Roach contacted the New York State Commission and said, hey, is he wearing a sleeve or is he wearing a brace? I want it checked. The commission looked very carefully at the implements that were given to Martinez to protect his knees, and ultimately, New York Commission Executive Director said, it's not a brace, it's a sleeve, he can wear it.
Here you see here, we're talking about the braces. I mean, people mentally try to challenge things to make guys uncomfortable, and I'm sure the only thing Freddie wants to do is make him do something to make Martinez uncomfortable with that situation.
Freddie said, I just wanted to make sure there's no metal in there, because if it's metal in there, it could conceivably hurt my fighter. And meanwhile, Harold Letterman, how do you have this one through 6?
Let's see what happens here, Jim.
Time. Okay, over there. Come on. Okay, he's got time. Got accidental.
Well, I confess I was not looking directly at the action, and I'm not sure what's happened.
It was a real hard accidental headbutt right in the face. Hit him like on the upper lip and nose, it looked like. Vazquez hit Sonsona.
Vazquez is squinting as though he's got a little bit of a headache, too. Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Both men feeling the effects of that butt, but mostly Sonsona, who got butted in the mouth. All right, Harold, how do you have it?
Look at you. I got a 3-2-1 even in favor of Sonsona, but on points 57-55 in favor of Sonsona. In that 6th round, I thought Sonsona won the round. He loses a point for the foul, so it becomes a 9-9 round. His 10 goes to 9. Vazquez lost the round. That's 9, so it becomes 9-9. I've got Sonsona winning the fight by 2 points. Now, the interesting part of this thing is another low blow.
All right, now Sonsona has been down twice in this round, once as the result of an accidental headbutt, and now as the result of a low blow.
Jim, I was saying, Marvin Sonsona's got a weak right hand, and it's showing in this fight. Wilfredo Vazquez is not afraid to walk through him because Sonsona doesn't hit you hard with the right hand. He paws with it. He's got a tremendous left, but he has a very weak right hand.
Vazquez feels like he's got a little bit of an advantage now and wants to come after Sonsona.
Vazquez so far is showing a lot here, weathering the storm of a younger, more athletic fighter, and getting up from a knockdown and turning it into a tough fight. And just when Sonsona looks like he's taking the play away and he has Vazquez in trouble, how much does Vazquez really want it? He shows he really wants it.
Work out. Right, I got it. Come on, sit back, Marvin. Come on, walk. Right. Come on, guys. No. Come on. What you doing, man? What you doing? Come on, man.
Steve Willis and Marvin Sonsona are developing a relationship in there, and it's not a relationship that Sonsona is going to like.
Come on, fight your way out. Come on, stop holding. Stop holding now. Break.
And this time it's Vazquez who's holding. And Sonsona lands a couple of good hard left hands.
And that was some of his best punches for this round.
You can see his obvious talent when he does that, but his inability to consistently keep the fight like that.
Can't keep his foot on the gas.
Yeah, it allows Vazquez then to impose himself again. Now, when faced with a fighter who doesn't want it like Vazquez, you know, maybe that guy folds, but that's not the guy he's in with tonight.
Oh, good uppercut by Sonsona.
Great. Just watch it. But great. You got to use your defense.
Vamos, Wilfredito, vamos. Let's go, Wilfredo. Let's go, Wilfredito.
You see the headbutt that came in, both guys bringing the power punches right down the pipe in the head slide. Then you see Sonsona acting like that was a low blow, but I don't think that was no more of a low blow than the body punch that he dropped Vazquez with in the first round.
And it was Sonsona pulling him down when he threw the punch.
And it still came upward just like Sonsona's punch did.
I agree. Good hard right hand by Vazquez up the middle. Momentarily stopped Sonsona in his tracks. Now Vazquez trying to follow up on that.
Break.
When Steve Willis yells break, he wants you to break right now.
He's not playing games.
Dang it.
You saw Sonsona land the punch up and under from a little bit longer distance than is normally advisable for throwing that punch. He tries that again with the left hand. WILFREDO Vazquez might try to counter it with a right.
Vazquez can't sit outside and wait on Sonsona because Sonsona's longer arms will reach him where he can't reach Sonsona from out there.
Just thinking the same thing. You know, the fight still feels like it hangs in the balance in this next few rounds.
It does, and Vazquez's eyes are starting to bother him as well.
Vazquez needs to make this at close quarters. Even that kind of sloppy fight, I think, favors Vazquez.
It does. Oh,
hard right hand by Vazquez.
Wow.
And I told you, if Sonsona gets lazy with the left hand underneath, Vazquez is going to counter, and he did it.
Now he needs to go to the body with it, though. Because Sonsona is still very dangerous.
Just the way their styles mesh, too, or rather don't mesh. It makes for a halting kind of fight. Neither guy can really establish much of a rhythm.
Well, very often when southpaws fight conventional fighters, that's what you wind up seeing. Scratch and sniff, hunt and peck.
Especially if the southpaw doesn't really have command of distance.
Oh, another good right hand. But see, the problem for me is if you knock him out the first time with the body shot, why would you keep focusing on the head? He can come back from that with the head shot. He won't come back from the body shot.
No. Easy. Easy. Watch your arm. Watch your arm. Watch your arm. Come here. Come on. Let's go.
I mentioned hunt and peck and scratch and sniff. We should throw in bump and grind. One last left hand to punctuate the round by Sonsona. But the two best punches in the round were sharp right hands by Wilfredo Vazquez Jr. And now, main event preparation. Marvin Somodio on the right, Freddie Roach on the left, as they work to finish off applying the glove to the right hand of Miguel Cotto. Dr. Roger Anderson, who is from Sergio Martinez's camp, is the man standing and watching on the right, observing the wrapping of the hands and the application of the glove.
Come on, he's gonna come out dirty. 9, this is 9.
CompuBox numbers through 8 rounds. Sonsona, 96 out of 368. Wilfredo Vazquez Jr., 91 out of 253. Meaning that they've landed an almost equal number of punches, but it's Vazquez who's landing at a higher connect percentage. Sonsona got a knockdown in round 1, and then gave it away with a low blow in round 8.
You heard, I believe, in Vazquez's corner, come on, he's going to come out dirty. And even though it's Sonsona who got the worst of that headbutt and who complained about getting hit low, I get the feeling that it's consistently Sonsona in this fight who tries to bend the rules as much as possible to gain an advantage, maybe out of frustration, including when they were tangled on the rope and it looked like he was leaning on Vazquez's leg.
Right. Let me go. I did it. I got you. I got this mix. Watch yourself. Watch your head. Watch your head. Come on now.
Good right hand by Vazquez.
That right hand has been working really well in the last round and a half.
Stop that holding now. Come on, let's bring it home, man. Let's bring it home. Last 2 rounds.
The feature punch of the fight.
Work out. Come on. Work out.
And Sonsona's punches, which had a lot of snap in the first 2 or 3 rounds, are often waving arm punches now.
Work out.
Vazquez sticks that right hand again.
Really tough position for Vazquez. In with a taller, rangier, more talented guy who's also making it an awkward fight where Vazquez can't seem to get a rhythm going. Not that Sonsona can either. But you get the sense that Vazquez would be well served to win these last 2 rounds decisively.
Yeah, he would. And he can't wait on Sonsona like this. That's what happens. That was a bad body shot.
Come on. 3 losses in the last 6 fights for Wilfredo Vazquez Jr. Lost to Jorge Arce, lost to Nonito Donaire, lost an upset to Yasutaka Ishimoto of Japan.
And you could see where if a guy's being self-trained and doesn't really have the support system that other fighters have, where these kind of tough, close fights go against them. And you can wind up with a couple losses, and it doesn't mean that you're in a bad place physically in your career. You're just not as prepared and cohesive as your opponent.
Well, in boxing nowadays, when they talk about a team, it's not a team in the ring actually fighting, but you do have to have a strong team around you. And that's where his problem is right now, is creating him a strong team that's strong all the way around the board.
Self-described crossroads fight at age 29 for Vazquez. For Marvin Sonsona at age 23, there are question marks about his career as well. 1 more round in which to answer them.
Come on. Buddy uppercut. You sure. Buddy upper. Buddy, come on. This is the last round. You should reach.
Last round. Último round, papito, venga. It's the last round, papito. Let's go.
Come here.
Last round.
Tap it up. Go to top gloves. Tap it up. Now move back. Go.
Commanding referee Steve Willis in charge in the ring. Unofficial scorecard of Harold Letterman has Sonsona up by 3 points after Harold saw him winning the night.
All right. Man, no, not your fault. Right.
That was Sonsona basically matadoring both of them to the canvas just then.
Break. Work out, last round, work out. You're gonna work it out. You're gonna fight your way out of there.
And this is where Vazquez should want to be. This way he did his damage in the 4th round of the first fight.
Fight your way out.
Find some kind of source of energy here. He's starting to throw those hooks. His elbow is dropping. Vazquez, I mean. Get some snap on his punches. That was a
Work
little
out,
more
work it
snappy.
out. Hands are free. Last round. You gotta do something. Break. Step back. Step back. Let him go. Let him go, Vazquez. I got it. Yeah, I know how now. Let's go.
There's Sonsona again, putting his weight on the back of Vazquez's head in the clinch.
Work out. Work out. Work out here. Hands are free. Work it out. Fight your way out.
Now Vazquez holding on to him.
Break.
Sometimes you just wonder if there should be separate leagues. Southpaws, you fight southpaws. Conventional fighters, you fight each other. That way we get to see the action flow freely.
Not been the case in this fight.
Then we would never see Marquez Pacquiao.
Hands are free.
That's a great point. Wouldn't get to see it once, much less 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yep. And the thing I hate about, I hate to say it, but people always talk about good fights. If they fought 7 times, we are guaranteed that all 7 will be good fights.
Well, they're as closely matched as any 2 fighters in the last couple of decades in terms of what's happened between them in the ring.
And the matchup for them is more interesting than ever because the outcome is now really in doubt. Until recently, it always went to the scorecards. It was always close. Marquez weathered the early storm, he'd outbox him, and now, who knows? Could end before the closing bell.
Oh, the referee takes a shot. What?
So Sonsona and Vazquez make it to the finish line of a fight which featured a knockdown within the first minute. And Roy Jones, we talk sometimes about how it is that fighters get hurt in the ring. Here's a good example of how incidental, unusual injuries can occur.
Yes, they step on each other's foot, their feet get tangled, and down goes both fighters. Anything can happen at a point like that. And the bad thing about that is, why that's ironic tonight is, if something like this happens to Sergio Martinez, this could be a big changing point in a fight for him.
That's a great point.
Harold Letterman, how'd you score this fight?
Boy, that was a wrestling match, Jim. I've got a 95-93, 5-4 1-even in rounds from MARVIN Sonsona. I've got Sonsona winning by 2 points. I thought he outworked him with that left hand. Not much of a right hand. An awful lot of holding and wrestling. Sonsona scored the only knockdown of the fight in round 1. Steve Willis took away a point from Sonsona later on in the fight in round 6. But I've got Sonsona eking it out 95-93.
Tell us the 3 official judges who have the difficult task of scoring what I think was a pretty hard fight to score.
Okay, Jim. Julie Letterman, best judge in my house, had Vazquez over Mike Alvarado, 117-109. I agreed with that. Michael Pernick from Delray Beach, Florida, has been working everything lately. We saw him in the Mayweather Maidana where he had it a draw. He worked last week in London. He had Carl Frosch. He had George Groves ahead, 68-65 in the Carl Frosch fight.
John Potter from Newark, good judge. He had Eris Landing Lara over Austin Trout, 117, 110. I thought he did a good job there. I think he'll do a good job tonight.
All right, we're going to find out who's the winner of that rough, seemingly scratch and sniff fight. Here's Michael Buffer with the result.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Michael Pernick scores it 96-92. He has it for Sonsona. John Potter scores it 96-92. He scores it for Vazquez Jr. And the deciding vote, 96-92 from Julie Letterman to the winner by split decision. And now the NABF champion, marvelous Marvin Sonsona.
Well, Michael Buffer leaving us momentarily in suspense as to whether there would be unity in scoring in the Letterman household. And because there was, Marvin Sonsona gets the split decision win over Wilfredo Vazquez Jr., who was so adamant and so straightforward in saying it's a crossroads fight for me and I have to win it. Sonsona, whose house burned down in the Philippines last year, putting 9 different people out onto the street as the result of that, gets the win and continues to rebuild his career and avenges the only loss of his career, which had come by knockout against Vazquez Jr. And you hope, based on everything he's been through, that Wilfredo Vazquez Jr. will also get other chances down the road.
Well, that's not a fighter who's finished. You know, that's not a shot fighter. That's a good fighter who maybe needs, as Roy says, to get a team around him. He can still beat some good fighters.
And final CompuBox numbers show Vazquez Jr. landing a total of 111. Sonsona landing 9 more. Sonsona throwing a whole lot more, 139 more punches in the course of the 10 rounds. And that was good enough to get him the close decision. New York has a long history with boxing and a long relationship with Miguel Cotto. While the Puerto Rican superstar may not be a native